You can't distill things down to a simple set of metrics that say that this is good, that this is okay, that this is working, this is healthy, this is reliable. I still come back to a lovely phrase I once heard in that if you want to look at a system, socio-technical system,
Hmm.
and understand if it is better now than it was yesterday or better now than it was a year ago, look at the types of stories people tell about it. And that
Yeah.
always chimed with me as a really lovely, very qualitative metric, if you like, of how systems are working. And it's something that I naturally look for in terms of the systems I tend to work on, where the perception of a system from the outside is where one reliability metric, if you like, exists. How do people perceive it? Do they rely on it? If they
Hmm.
do, then it's perceived as reliable, as you say, to the customer, to the person that is benefiting externally from what you have. And then there's the benefit to the people who run the system. There's the benefit to the people who are stakeholders in the system's existence. And
Yeah.
you can ask, is it reliable to them as well? And that becomes another
Yeah.
interesting way of examining it. And then there's this question of system health. Is it healthy? And in fact, health has so many dimensions that it should never be a single number. I don't even know how you make it a simple number.
Yeah, but we are all engineers, so 1 or 0 is our favorite, but
Exactly.
not
Not
here.
just one number,
No,
but literally a binary. Yes, absolutely. And we don't like stories. I mean, well, we do like
we
stories
do,
as
but
humans.
it depends on the context.
It really does. And we don't like to think that that's what better might look like.
Yeah.
I mean, as an example, I was working some years ago now with a group who were explaining that they had a highly reliable, highly available payment system. And we started to unpack the experiences that people have of it. Very
Hmm.
subjective, of course they are, but they are as valid as anybody else's experiences within it. And as we did that, we found that was over time, as improvements were explored, and everything was a baby step in improving that system. Every baby step of improvement, the stories would adjust. They wouldn't all suddenly become positive, by the way. They might become more negative, but
Yeah.
because we're experimenting, we're probing, we're sensing, we're responding, we're seeing how a complex system reacts to these things. But we were using as a primary sense-making tool, what are the stories that people are telling about it? And that was quite useful for us because what we realized is that some stories disappeared. Some of the worst ones disappeared for some changes that we made.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's a bit like I don't know how familiar your audience here is with British culture, um, whatever that may be. But in British culture, we have a tendency to be quite pessimistic. I think it's our weather that helps, but so we tend to tell pessimistic stories. If you read the press in the UK, it's pretty much this is what you should hate, this is what you should be upset about, this is what you should fear, and this is why it's all going to hell in a handbasket. Um, and then you go out and you experience the world in the UK, and you can take a perspective of we're quite privileged, we're quite happy. There is, it's not the reflection of what's on the page, but those are the stories that we tell about ourselves.
Hmm.
And so when you're looking at these, the stories that people tell about how they experience these complex, complicated systems, you can use the stories to help you guide the improvements you're making, the test experiments you're making as you baby step forward. And I found that to be really useful when you're working in reliability and resilience, where single point metrics or even trends over time really don't help. Can we find a way of engaging people in surfacing the stories that they see and not treating it as a binary? Yes, it's okay. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's, this group of people, they're telling different stories now. What does that tell us?